What's up, everybody? Bill Svoboda, co-founder of Close Simple here, and I'm excited to take a few minutes here to share on a topic that we all know too well right now in the real estate market. The topic is uncertainty, but not just uncertainty in living in that, going when does the next deal come in, where's it coming from, what's going to happen with interest rates. I want to talk about uncertainty and how we can lean into it and actually come out of this crazy market in a few months or whatever it takes to get through it, come out stronger as a result of what we do right now here today. Now, I realize each of us, we live in a box. We have a box, okay? Whether you like to believe it or not, we all have a box. The box is how we've always done it before. This is how I've closed files 20 years ago. Here's how I've closed files 10 years ago. Here's how I close files pre-COVID, during COVID, post-COVID, you name it. We all have a box that we frame our realities and our business within. And that box is awesome because it keeps us safe. And how many of you know, in the title and escrow industry, we get paid because we cross the T's, dot the I's, we open files, we close files, we do it accurately and on time. That is the box we live in. Now today though, I want to talk about how in an uncertain market, that box can actually be detrimental to you not only making it through these uncertain times, but coming out stronger. Now I always like to say, customer service is what we get paid to do. We get paid to open files and close files, on time and accurate. Customer care, on the other hand, raises the bar. That is what I like to call the 6th star. 5-star service is awesome. It's what we're expected to do. If a customer comes to us and we do what is right by them during the file, if we treat the realtor good, the lender good, the consumer good, that's awesome. We're gonna get a 5-star rating. A 6-star though, raises that. It's proactive. It's answering questions that consumer or realtor didn't even know they should be asking yet, and we just solve that problem for them. It's thinking before they even think about it. So what I want to talk today is how do we get rid of that old box that we've been living in that got us to here, and how do we embrace a new reality, and I would say just an openness to an uncertain market, and what can we do right now to actually build a business stronger and move towards that 6-star care model. I want to start with a story here. Now, in terms of thinking within the box, there's one story that I think just stands out amongst all the marketing stories in the world about somebody who thought outside the box. His name is Lee Lance. And Lee Lance in the 1970s was this fisherman. And he had, just like every other fisherman in his day, a fishing boat and a fishing fleet. And they'd go out and they'd get in big hauls of fish from the ocean. They'd sell them in America. The only issue was, in the 1970s, there was a real shortage of fish. See, all the sea fishermen in the world were deep sea fishing so close to the inland that all the deep sea fish were starting to not exist anymore. So Lee Lance saw this as an opportunity to not just stay in those shallow waters, but to go a little deeper. And as he went a little deeper, he started pulling up fish that, you know what, he didn't recognize. Fish that actually looked kind of freaky. And Lee Lance found this one fish, and it was this huge fish, about 7 feet long, huge teeth. It was called the Patagonian toothfish. And as he drew those lines down and pulled these fish over and over and over again in these deep, deep waters, he realized there are a ton of Patagonian toothfish in the world. The only problem was this Patagonian toothfish might be the ugliest fish he had ever seen. Well, Lee realized he's on the cusp of something here. He's got to figure out what to do with all these fish. So one day, he decides he's just going to try cooking up one of these toothfish. He cuts a fillet up and he puts it in, and to his surprise, this Patagonian toothfish is the best tasting fish he has ever tasted. Not only is there not the fishy taste, but it's buttery, it flakes, it falls apart. And Lee looks at this and he goes, how do I sell this fish? Now he knew that no chef in America would put a Patagonian toothfish on the menu. So what did Lee do? He thought to himself, with a new mindset, he realized the box was this: high-end chefs in America always serve fish that sound fancy. Salmon, flounder, tilapia. What did he have here in the Patagonian toothfish? This ugly fish, 7 feet long, huge fangs. He realized he had just an amazing piece of meat that he could sell, but there was no way he could sell it under the name Patagonian toothfish. So he started thinking about it. And the type of fish that this was, it was actually a cod. So there's different species of fish. This was a cod. But he realized cod doesn't even sound, how do you say, special. And he started looking at the menus across America and he realized bass is a big thing, sea bass. And he started thinking to himself, what sounds interesting? And he came up with this name, the Chilean sea bass. Now, chefs across America didn't know what a Chilean sea bass was from a Patagonian toothfish, but you weigh those two, and which fish would you rather have on your menu? The Chilean sea bass, right? So, Lee Lance, in one of the greatest marketing pitches ever, started selling Chilean sea bass to chefs all across America. Now, today, 30, 40 years later, what's on our menus? Chilean sea bass, not the Patagonian toothfish. What do we learn from that story? It's not about the box that we live in. It's not about what we've always known. It's not even about looking at the same thing over and over and over again and doing the same thing. It's about going, how could I reframe this? How could I reposition it? How could I rethink this for my market, for my consumers, for what the world needs right now? When I think about title and escrow, I think about the boxes we live in. And I think there are 3 primary boxes. I think there are the operational boxes, how we open files, close files, how we work in our title production software, how we do everything. I think there's the customer experience box of how do we treat our customers? How do we actually interact with them? Is it a fully digital closing, able to do it on your phone? What type of closing experience? What happens when they walk into our offices? What's their experience when they drive into our parking lot? How are they greeted when they walk through the door? Those are all customer experience things. They fall under the operational things. We have to open files and close files. The customer experience is a part of that. And the third thing that I really think is a box that we always play in is technology. This is how we've always done it. This is how we're told we should be doing it. We put ourselves in boxes. We go, I've been on this software for 5 years. I've been on this software for 20 years, whatever it is. And that's how we always do it. Well, I want to take a page from Lee Lance right now, and I just want to challenge this. What if we started thinking outside the box in terms of operations, in terms of customer experience, and in terms of technology? What if, for example, in the operations, we step back and we go, we've always done it this way. We've always received a file from a realtor. We've always done this, this, this. What if we step back, maybe go to a coffee shop, go to a diner, whatever it is, get off the internet, get out away from our computers, and just start thinking, how could we do this? Operationally, what are some things that would make it smoother? What are the questions that real estate agents always ask us? What are the questions that a buyer always asks us? What are the questions that a seller always asks us? And what are the questions that a lender always asks us? Could we somehow bake it into our internal process to answer those questions before they even ask them? It's really just taking a step back and going, what if? Those 2 words are 2 of the strongest words in the English language. What if? It's like, what if we went to the moon? What if we? What if is what we need to be thinking about to get outside the box. In title and escrow, however, the word but is always there. But we can't, but this, but that. I'm going to challenge you to go, what if? What if we did this? What if we? Let's talk about the customer experience. What if you could create remarkable experiences during that closing process for the buyer, seller, realtor, lender? You already know how it's going to work during the closing. Now let's think customer experience. From the moment they hit your parking lot, go 10 steps back. How did they even get to your parking lot? What do you need to convey to them via email about the parking situation? What do you need to convey to them about the reception they're going to have when they walk through the door? Can you give them any type of just little teaser about how special this day is and how it's going to be a party for them? How it's so special and your whole team is preparing for this? What can you do to actually create an elevated customer experience? I have one friend in Texas at her title company. What they actually do is once the closing is scheduled, they send an email out to the buyer or seller, the consumer really, and also the realtor. But they say, hey, Mr. Buyer, Mr. Seller, whatever it is, closing day is coming. And we just want to let you know that we're so excited about this. And it's going to be some work on closing day. We need you to sign a few documents. So in prep for that, we want to have a little meal waiting for you. So here's a link to our menu, and we'd love to order something from Panera for you. Now they do this with the consumer. The realtor doesn't get this, but how many of you know on the day of closing, things might not happen exactly like you expect? So having a hot soup bowl, a hot bread bowl, how many of you love that from Panera, waiting for the consumer, that buys them time if, let's just say, they need to go back and they need to work on something. And if they don't click what they'd like, they let them know in that email that, hey, we'll have a brownie, we'll have some cookies waiting for you if you don't select anything. But what it does is it creates a customer experience and an expectation. When that real estate agent refers business to that title company, what happens? They're going to talk about the closing day and about the hot Panera bread bowl soup waiting for them, right? It can cost this title company such a small amount of money to create that consumer experience that just goes through the roof. So what are you doing to create a customer experience that not only just goes through the motions of a closing, but creates emotions? And the third thing is technology. What are you doing right now to lean into this technology opportunity stage that we all are in? Coming out of COVID, the expectations on technology have just gone through the roof. We all expect tech to do more. Consumers want it, real estate agents want it, lenders want it. They want a more digital closing experience. So how are we able to do that? And I know that you have a title production software that you're already on. So maybe that feels like a lot to chew on, but have you played with ChatGPT yet? Have you dipped your toes into the AI revolution that's happening? I know it might be a little scary, but I would just challenge you. Just go on ChatGPT. We're not going to share any information that you shouldn't be sharing, but just sign in and just ask it, hey, my name is Bill. I run XYZ Title. I'm in XYZ City in Wisconsin. I'm in Appleton, Wisconsin. I run XYZ Title, whatever. And say, I'm looking to create a marketing plan to reach 30 new real estate agents over the next 90 days. Can you help me come up with some tactics? All of a sudden, within the click of a button, ChatGPT is going to come up with, I always like to ask, help me think of 22 new ideas or 10 new ideas or 5. Give ChatGPT those little parameters and you'll be amazed at what it can do. Then based on that, you can say, I love number 6. Can you help me create a social media campaign? I love number 6. Could you help me write a sales letter that I could send to real estate agents that have never closed with us before? My point is this. If we're going to get through this unprecedentedly uncertain market, we need to be thinking of new ways to do the same old things. How are you doing that with your operations, with your customer experience, and with your technology? I'm not asking you to throw away the baby with the bathwater. What I am asking you to do is step back and think about, what if we did this? What if we did this a little different? What if? And there's no bad questions to ask at this point because the market is uncertain and the consumer is looking for different. The real estate agent is looking for different. The lender is looking for different. They're looking for a better experience. And I think right now is the time to lean into that. So that's my challenge to you. How are you going to lean into the uncertainty in this uncertain market? I think it's by rethinking what the box is and going, how could we do this better? How could we do this different? What if we fill in the blank? So that's my challenge to you. I hope you got 1 or 2 things out of this. And next time you order a Chilean sea bass on the menu at some fancy restaurant, you know that it's not, in fact, the Chilean sea bass. It's really the Patagonian toothfish. Talk soon.